Hey guys, it's me, your boy Ryan Swag here. I was on the fence. Am I going to talk about water types or am I going to talk about grass types? But then Pokemon Go kinda took over, and they're like, "Hey, we're updating with a bunch of new water and ice type Pokemon." So I may as well impart this knowledge upon you guys now, since you're probably curious how they are in the meta. Like, which ones are worth looking out for, other than those the shiny boys there, right? There's been some graphics going around. This one was made by Pokemon Master Holly here, and it shows like them and their shiny iterations. So far, it's only been confirmed that Snorunt here has a little shiny guy. Oh, which one of these are actually in the game? We got the bottom row. We got these guys. I think somebody posted a wish cache. I'm pretty certain there's a wish cache. So like, how many Pokemon is there? Well, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Not taking any chances. Game Press rolled hard, and we updated all the possible water/ice type Pokemon that they could be having. So we updated all those pages, made sure they're all squaresies. So if you're curious about where each individual one stands in the meta, or what Game Press's opinion is on them, then yeah, check out these pages. Got a little carried away with some of the descriptions, so might be some entertainment value there for you. Not featured on this little guy is Delibird, and I did Delibird myself, so check that page out. There's a little poem. So where do they all stand? So I decided to map out the new ice ones in a fantasy Rayquaza raid, right? So here's a graph for that. Now I say a fantasy Rayquaza raid because Rayquaza's not out yet. We don't have an official announcement for when Rayquaza's gonna come out. If you're curious what Rayquaza is like the Mewtwo of Gen 3. Where like Kyogre and Groudon, they're like Ho-Oh and Lugia, so Rayquaza's like, they got a trio, but they're like a bigger kind of trio, if that makes sense. But yeah, big Dragon Boy. Niantic is probably going to nerf him down into something that's like Dragonite sized, so excitement, legendary. Right, but yeah, no, raid that's projected to come out soon. And I used Pokebattler, so I used the current moves that are in the Game Master, and I used all their movesets that this guy's got averaged together. Keep it like a perfectly even playing field for the Rayquaza raid. And these are the counters at level 40, and I mostly included ice types, but Gyarados and Milotic found their way into this, so give them a little group of comparison. And since Kyogre was featured on the graphic, I decided to just throw Kyogre in there anyways, just to make everyone, all the ice types, feel bad, because what the H, And another thing to note on Pokebattler, unless I'm horribly mistaken, I'm pretty positive that all the unreleased big legendaries, like Rayquaza and Kyogre, I believe they've gotten the 9% nerf. So this is what they're most likely going to be when they are actually in Pokemon Go, right? So looking at the new ones, we got Walrein, and a lot of websites are like quoting that Walrein is like the stronger Lapras, like go home Lapras, But Lapras is still rocking it. Lapras is still really good. Not less than Walrein. Walrein's got a little bit more DPS because Walrein has that higher attack stat. But Lapras does have more bulk, and another thing Lapras has going for it is that it has access to Ice Beam. And Walrein only has Blizzard, which kind of holds Walrein back. I was kind of hoping Walrein was going to get Avalanche. I thought that would be pretty interesting, because then it would be like a clear DPS upgrade from Lapras from what previous simulations I was looking at. But how it is now, it's on par with Lapras. I can't say that Lapras is like strictly better than Walrein, and I can't really say Walrein's better than Lapras. So Walrein just kind of gets added to the, viable ice type conglomerate that's in the game. Like roughly as good as like Piloswine. Cloyster is going to be more easily obtained. Lapras is like the rare one, but you don't have to use any candies to evolve it. Jinx is still going to be the high DPS glass cannon. So Walrein doesn't pose any major advantages, but no major disadvantages. Still a very solid Pokemon. The only thing that really holds it back is that 125 candy wall that the other Pokemon aren't experiencing. So there's that. So yeah, and we got Kyogre riding ahead, and Kyogre's not out yet, but like Groudon, Kyogre has like some interesting charge moves going on, and it has Dragon Tail as a fast move. So Kyogre is like gonna show up in a lot of simulations once it's out, where you feel like it doesn't really belong, but it's there because it's got huge legendary stats, and it's got, you know, strong neutral coverage, and it's got super effective coverage with its variety of charge moves. So Kyogre is blessed with Dragon Tail and Blizzard, which allows it to hit dragons super effectively, especially this one, which is Dragon Flying, so it gets that quad damage from the Blizzard. Now, Milotic is also blessed. Yeah, all the way down here we got Milotic. Milotic is also blessed with a Dragon Tail Blizzard moveset. However, Milotic does not have legendary base stats. No, it's got pretty basic ones. It's got 192 base attack. That number sticks in my mind. Maybe I'm off. I don't know. But yeah, so it's a little bit, it's tanky, but it doesn't have a real high attack stat to pull off this moveset like Kyogre does. And then I also threw in Gyarados here with Gyarados' Dragon Slaying set, because I figured people would be curious about that. And then also off to the side here we got Glalie. Not doing so hot. Yeah, look at that guy. Like, you've seen this face before. Take someone's gym, a gym that they just happen to be in. You get that look. If you think this Pokemon looks mad now, you should have seen its face when it heard it's useless on offense and defense, right? But hey, Glalie does have a naturally low CP, and it can make it a stickler for gym defense. So, you know, but its pure ice typing offers it no further advantages. The only two that really stand out as gym defenders are Milotic and Walrein here. So Walrein's gonna have like basically the same counters as Lapras does. You know, that Waterfall does make it a very potent move for it to hit people with. You know, but Blizzard, you're still going to want Blizzard as a charge move. And yeah, Water Pulse is actually really underwhelming in this fight. I looked at some direct simulations when I was working on the Game Press page, and I found that, like, against Raikou, for example, if Raikou dodges Earthquake, like you use Earthquake on a Raikou and it dodges it, it deals roughly as much damage to Raikou as it would if it took several Water Pulses undodged, just to give you an idea of just how bad Water Pulse is on defense, right? So Blizzard, the best move. Earthquake, passable. It's unique, you know, might throw people off, but yeah, but how does Walrein compare to Lapras? Yeah, so you'll see that it takes about 17.7 seconds for the fight, and Raikou's left with like 92 of its HP left. So yeah, Lapras is going to be lasting a lot longer in the fight. 24 seconds. You know, so Raikou's going to come out with a little bit more HP. But then again, Surf is like a bit harder to dodge too, so kind of questionable. I guess I could keep it purely even and check it out with Blizzard as well. Basically the same shtick, right? So yeah, what you're going to find is Lapras is probably going to be the better defender. Walrein's only getting like very slightly more damage in against things that are countering it, but for the most part, if you're gym defending, you're just trying to like waste people's time a little bit more than usual. I mean, they're kind of interchangeable. Do you want to do some active gym defense, like somebody's actively trying to fight it and you're trying to like hold the gym before a raid, then Lapras would probably serve you better than Walrein will. Now what's interesting though is Milotic. Milotic's a bit more fun. Yeah, so Milotic, you might look at it and you're like, oh, it's kind of a worse Vaporeon, you know? Milotic's bulk comes from its defense more than it comes from its HP, and then its attack stat is notably lower than Vaporeon's is. So looking at it at a base, you're like, oh, that's just a worse Vaporeon. But, oh yeah, what does it get? Not only does our friend Milotic here have Waterfall, which is like 16 base power, which just blows Water Gun out of the water. Wow, that was bad. Blows that out of the water. But it also has Dragon Tail, which is basically as powerful as Waterfall without stab. So Waterfall is going to be a stronger neutral hit by far. But Dragon Tail is neutral coverage. It's Dragon type coverage, you know, so yeah, two very powerful fast moves on defense and a lot of value from like a potent defender, someone that you're really trying to like, I don't know, dig into their side while they're taking down the gym in 5 minutes. You know, you're going to get that more out of Pokemon with stronger fast moves. You know, you see that with like slow dudes and they got their confusion. I'd say Surf is probably roughly as good as like Hydro Pump is on defense. It'll come more frequently and it is very hard to dodge. But Hydro Pump has more like blitz damage too, also very hard to dodge. But and then another thing is Milotic carries Blizzard on defense, which is extremely good counter coverage since Dragon Knight usually just rolls over, water types. It's very used to just like Raffle Stomping Vaporeon left and right. Well, now Milotic is here and it can threaten Dragonite with Dragon Tail and Blizzard. And you can mix and match these 4 moves and you'll have a optimal defender whichever way you look at it. So pretty good investment there. And then Hyper Beam, just ignore that. So overall, as tanky as Vaporeon, not as much HP but more defense, so kind of a trade-off there. And the better moves really does push it ahead of Vaporeon in performance. Put that in gyms, show it off. The fruits of your 20 kilometers of walking paid off. Got this bay. Hey, just adding this guy in here. I didn't have the water type comparison prepared for the stream, so just throwing this in. So yeah, here you can see that Milotic and Relicanth are the only 2 that are really meta relevant for raiding from the new set of Pokemon we got. The other ones just performed so poorly that they really weren't worth including on the graph because it kind of warped things. Maybe it would have been nice to see that for yourselves, but yeah, Milotic's got like I guess the best stats out of all of them, and it's a bit behind Vaporeon, so I think you can imagine that the other ones aren't doing so hot. One thing that really stands out though is on their Rayquaza graph, we saw that Kyogre was rocking it there. On the water type graph, Kyogre is insane. Yeah, and I confirmed with Salandro from Pokebattler that this is Kyogre's stats after the 9% nerf that Niantic gives to the big boys. So this is Kyogre's stats when they're about the same as Groudon's stats. So yeah, and want to talk about Wailord on defense, right? Not that Wailord is a particularly great defender. I just figure people like to know about it. Show it off with Pokebattler. I'll just go to the Game Press page. A very nice and simple explanation of Wailord. Wailord's got a 175 attack, so less than Milotic, less than a lot of Pokemon, and it's only got double-digit defenses. Stamina's pretty big, but 4th highest stamina in the game, right? So that's pretty impressive. Yeah, dude, Ozza knows what's up. Use him because he'll be massive for on top of a gym. That's where Wailord's true strength lies. It's also got a naturally low CP. So for people putting it in the gym as like a haha Wailord, it's so big, have fun with that one. It's also got a naturally low CP, which is actually good for defense right now because it gives you that slower decay rate. Yeah, so it's a bird, it's a plane. Dear God, what is that giant thing on top of the gym? And what's it doing to that skitty? Yeah, Sharpedo, it's a really good glass cannon, and it can be helpful against like soloing stuff that's weak to water types. However, it is a little bit too glass of a glass cannon. It's got like no HP and it's got double-digit defenses, so Sharpedo definitely faints like rapidly quick. And then for being like a dark type glass cannon, Tyranitar way better, and then Absol, Houndoom, Shiftry, right? Yeah, Shiftry. A bit better dark type glass cannons just because they're like bulking a bit longer. I think 7 confusions, give or take, from Raid Boss Alakazam actually faint a maxed out Sharpedo, so a little bit too glass there. But for being a water type glass cannon, it's way better than Starmie. Yeah, and for a Ninetales solo, it can definitely ease the clock. It's not as good as Gyarados is for that, but if you don't have a whole bunch of Gyaradoses for that solo challenge, and you need a little bit more help on that timer, Sharpedo flies in and dies quickly, right? And if Ludicolo's in the game, it has the niche of having a doubled up resistance to water type attacks. I don't know how much use that's going to be, and as far as like its offensive prowess, that's also kind of like non-existent, even for countering water types, doesn't really stand out. For countering Kyogre, it's like tanky, but its DPS is so low that it's like, if you're using Ludicolo, it's because you want to see him dance around on the screen, and that is perfectly respectable. Of the new Pokemon, though, Milotic is definitely pretty exciting. So, I mean, 20 new Pokemon, getting one Pokemon that's worthwhile. I think that's overall a pretty net win as far as like Pokemon stuff is concerned. And like old school Gen 2 only had like 14-ish meta relevant Pokemon, and if you weren't using like a handful of those 14 for your teams for PvP, you're basically stupid, you know, like you're just not going to do good. So, I don't know, people are like saying like Pokemon Go doesn't have depth and you can't use all these different Pokemon in Pokemon Go cuz the battle's so simple. You know, it's when you really break it down, the diversity is like kind of on par with the console games. Maybe even a little bit more variety when you consider the fact that raid bosses can really bring out a very specific type of Pokemon to perform better than usual. Yeah, this was a stream recording of my live stream SwagTips. Streams every Thursday at 7 p.m. CT at the Twitch channel, SwagTips. So come on in. I'm always there to answer questions, always talking about some meta-relevant topic. And for this YouTube channel, you know, like, comment, subscribe, you know, be my friend. Yeah, you can be my friend.